you for the tears. Thank you for the moments that we hold dear. Thank you for the love, thank you for the light. I'm grateful every day.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Make Dreams Happen, episode 11. Oh, wow, 11. And I'm here with Preston. Welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you for being here again. You know that this is your house, and every time that you want to come, you're more than welcome.
After the last one, I was so excited. I was like, when can I do the next one? When can I do the next one? I was ready for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to talk. And there's a lot of things that you have to teach also people that are watching our episode. Also, it's great that you're back. So how was your weekend?
It's been good. It's been a busy day already.
Yeah.
But meetings and work stuff and then everything. But yeah, it's been a really great weekend so far.
It's very productive.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
How about yours?
It was good, honestly. It was a really good week. Everything is going in the way they should be doing, and just be patient and just letting the universe guide me. And yeah, it's been a really good week. I just had a meeting. I told you like during this week, it was really good. I wasn't expecting, but it was just like that. But other than that, it's good. And this episode is special too, also because you're here, and I'm super excited to have you and talk about more about intuitions, more how intuition can help people to like take decisions and how to listen or intuition.
Yeah.
But first of all, there's a lot of people that know they had another like definition of intuition. What is intuition?
To me, intuition is, I don't know if I've ever actually thought of that before. It's that like, it's a subtle knowing something that your brain doesn't fully understand. So to me, intuition is always, it can be a gut feeling. It can even be just an understanding of something, just like the puzzle pieces clicking together and making sense for something before my brain has made a chance to fully understand everything.
And when that start for you, like when you like discovered that you like were like intuitive?
Sort of like I mentioned on the last one, it started with meditating when I was like probably around 16 or so. And then the meditations led to me talking with my spirit guides. And that sort of led to me, again, sort of knowing things that I shouldn't know, or there was no way that I could have known. And so it was a way to continue to make what some people might call an educated guess, but that had a very high degree of certainty. And then with that, I found tools like tarot that allowed me to even continue that even further and help me to use it for other people.
Oh, nice. So, and another thing that I was wondering, because to listen to our intuition, we have to be present, like meditate. But when we know that we are taking the right decision, or when we know that that's the right way when we listen to the intuition.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't, and that's the hardest part, is that, or you make the right decision, you say right decision. So anytime any decision you make is the right decision because it's the decision you made. So it's one of those things that you don't always know what the right decision is until down the line. And sometimes it's even the wrong decision was the right decision because that's what got you where you are today. So you wouldn't be here if you hadn't made that decision. So even then it's easier to look at life as I was supposed to make that decision, even though it wasn't an easy one.
Yeah, but I don't know if you heard this expression that when people take decisions and something doesn't go in their way, we want to say, "Oh, I shouldn't listen to my intuition." So that's the thing that I like very like, and I don't think that I'm the only one that is kind of like, how to say, when you're not sure about it.
So the example I always use is I follow my intuition almost all the time. I'm usually really good about it. And even during my day job, when I'm making hiring decisions, I'll hire people based on how my intuition feels during the interview and everything. And one of the times I did that, the employee lasted for 7 days. And so he showed up on a Monday, and by Friday, he came in the next Monday and he disappeared at lunch. Like he just walked out and said, this isn't the right decision. Bye. And so I sort of started to doubt myself at that point, because why would my intuition say yes to hire this person if it just turned into a bigger headache than what it could be? And I don't have a solid, oh, it worked out for this reason.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work out because he wasn't supposed to be there. Why my intuition said yes to hire him in the first place, I still don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, I like to say, it was necessary for my growth as a manager, let alone, and like a validation to the universe of saying, I trust you. I'm going to listen to the voice that, like, the gut instinct, and I'm going to listen to it and trust it, even if it doesn't, even though it looks like it didn't work out. I don't know what other decisions were made because of my decision that actually benefited me in the long run. So I can make up some reasons to feel validated, but that's one example that I still go, like, I still think, why did I hire him? But I think there was clearly something else happening that was necessary for that, but it happens to everyone.
And now I'm curious, now you're saying that was, you're using your intuition, that wasn't the right decision. So how people can listen to their intuition, or how the intuition manifests?
It's different for everybody. So if you're to look online of like how to listen to your intuition, there's I think 5 or 6 official ways that your intuition talks to you, like clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, all these different fancy words for just different ways that your intuition can come to you. It can be as simple as just a gut knowing that you should or shouldn't do something, and it can be as advanced as reading tarot cards and helping to predict someone's future. So I believe that intuition sort of is interwoven through all of that, from the very basic to the highest levels.
So do you think, in my case, I think so, it's kind of like when I feel in here in my stomach, I feel I should go.
Yeah.
I should go for that. But something, I don't do that because I think I get confused that that feeling is like a fear.
That's what you have to be most careful of. And I usually notice that fear, I like to differentiate between intuition versus instinct. Mm-hmm. And instinct is usually fear-based, and that's a quick, you pull your hand back from the stove, or you defend yourself if someone's attacking you. Those are fear-based things. And then when you're waiting for intuition, there's a pause that you allow the space for your intuition to talk in. And so when it's something, if your immediate reaction is like fear and freeze, then usually that's your instinct trying to protect you. But when you take a step back and allow yourself to breathe through it, your intuition will always come up and either validate that and say, don't do that, or challenge it, and sort of that whisper of pushing you forward towards something that's more advanced.
That's good to know. So intuition is like something is, the reaction is just right there. It's like instant. The intuition is something that we can like pause and think about it and meditate.
And you have to be careful, because thinking takes the intuition out of it. So it's almost and that leads it back into a fear type of thing. So it's almost a lack of thinking. It's just that space of quiet that allows intuition to come up.
Oh, okay. Now I'm kind of confused.
Because if it's coming from your brain, that's your logic. That's still not part of the intuition. Intuition almost feels from your body. So if you're thinking something or overthinking something, that's where you're stepping out of intuition, and it's good to use your logic and your intuition together. And I always find that my best tarot readings that I'm doing for someone are when I use a little bit of logic and a little bit of intuition and mix it together, just because it adds a deeper feeling to it. So, but if you're overthinking something, then you're not letting your intuition it's just as bad as reacting out of fear. And so there's a middle ground between reacting and thinking, and that middle ground is where your intuition plays.
It's kind of like a balance.
Yeah.
And how can we get to that balance? For the people that are like just starting in this world of spiritual guidance and learning about development, how can we get to that balance?
The easiest is meditation. And I say easy because most people don't like to meditate anyway. So it's easy is relative. But what I like to do, so I started by doing this before I go to sleep. And that was the easiest time because I had a busy schedule. And what I'll do is before I go to sleep, I'll just count my breathing. And that helps me fall asleep, but it also is a form of meditation. So just counting in and out as you go, and just count as high as you can. And that will short circuit your brain so you're not overthinking because you're focused on the counting. But it's like what they talk about, the monkey brain or monkey chatter in your brain. It helps to calm it down. So if you just breathe in and out and count 1, and then in and out and count 2, even if you do that for 10 while you're going to sleep, it'll help you practice for meditation. So it's a quick, easy, fun way to meditate, and it also helps you go to sleep.
And how another question because I'm lately I'm being more very into manifestation and just like just letting the universe guide me. How do you think the intuition help you with manifestation and achieve your goals or your dreams?
Part of it is it's played a huge factor just to start, but it also helps. I feel like intuition helps to define the right goal. If you're in that space of overthinking, then you usually aim for the wrong goal. And then so dropping into intuition can help you with that, but it also helps you when you're taking what they call aligned action. So I'm a person that like, I get an idea and I want to jump into action right away. And it's usually spinning my wheels on something. And I've been practicing a lot more lately, taking a step back and waiting for the right action to reveal itself. And so to me, that looks like in the finding clients or finding coaching clients or attracting clients, that the first thing I want to do is, I need to be posting on social media every day. I need to be posting here. I need to be doing this. I need to be contacting these people. Like, there's a whole list of things that comes up, which will those things help you get clients? Yes. But if you're doing them from a hectic, forward, misaligned energy standpoint, it's just like spinning your wheels and being stuck in the mud. Whereas if you step back and let your intuition guide you towards the next right action, it allows you to use your energy in a much more focused and aligned aspect, which is what I've been focusing on lately. And so, which comes up from a lot of my resistance around social media and posting is adhering to a schedule of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not very good at it because it feels forced, and so I don't like to do it. And so I've come at it from a perspective of, well, just do it when you want to do it and trust that your intuition is going to guide you towards the right times. And that's pretty inconsistent posting, but consistent enough. And it's interesting how quickly it works and how more people reach out when you're at that aligned version of yourself, which is just trusting your intuition to lead you forward.
That's true. Because when you like do something like because just forcing things, they won't happen. So, and that's nice that you said that just letting like all your intuition and posting when you feel that you can do it and you want the time or you really want to do it. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Every time the last time I learned, every time that I see you, I learn something new. That's great.
Yeah. Well, and you've talked about using your intuition already. Even something of like talking to your grandma or like feeling your grandma. That's a sense of using your intuition to sense something that your physical senses can't explain or define, but that's an elevated sense of something, which is what your intuition is. And in those cases, especially when it's encouraging you to take that step outside of your comfort zone, or to do that new scary thing that, even though your brain shuts down because like, oh no, I need to protect myself, but your intuition is pushing you forward, saying, no, this is the next step for you to take.
And so what's happened, because I've been reading, there's a lot of people that they don't listen to their intuition. So example is, you want to do something, but your intuition, something here is telling you don't do that, but you really want to do it. So how can we like fight a battle between your, I will say, your unconscious mind and your intuition?
Yeah.
Because that happened to me a lot of times.
And you do you do it anyway?
I do it anyway because I want to. I don't know. Something is telling me don't do it, but just for the curiosity or because I want to do it, I do it. And to the end, it's like a tragedy.
And that's the hard part. Is it takes practice. And I always define intuition as a muscle. Just like you go to the gym, you work out your biceps. It's a muscle that you have to repeat over and over and over again. And sometimes it just takes practice of something bad happening. It can be as simple as going to a restaurant and wanting to order the pizza, but your intuition is telling you to order the chicken, and you go, I really want the pizza. And then you feel bloated and gross all night.
Yeah.
It can be something as that simple, or it can be as bad as you go to a party that you didn't want to go to, and then the cops come and you get arrested. Like, there could be some extravagant thing of that something bad happens and there's everything in the middle of that. And I've found that over the years, I lean more into my intuition because I have a better quality of life when I do that. Even something as simple as what I order on the menu, I don't ever regret ordering something that my intuition tells me to order. And so, whereas there are times that I order with my brain and it's definitely not what I wanted. Mm-hmm. So even something that simple, it's a lot of practice and a lot of reminding yourself how important or how strong your intuition is.
Do you think the intuitions come from the heart or from your head?
Definitely from your heart. One of the things I read is that your head is great for observation. And its main tool is observing and processing, and that's what it should be used for. But decision making should always come from the heart, and that has always resonated with me because almost every time I make a decision from my head, which is I'm gonna apply to that job because I need more money. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna do this because I want that. Anytime I think I do something from my head, it doesn't pan out the way I think it's going to, or the way I want it to, or it just feels empty. Like I end up overworking because I did something I really shouldn't have applied for, or even there have been times where even like what I wear, you picking out your wardrobe for the day based on intuition, mm-hmm. It just changes how I feel for the day versus choosing with my head, which seems sort of silly at sometimes, but it's something about the way the intuitive mind works that I just feel more confident knowing my intuition helped me pick out that outfit for the day.
Yeah, and what do you think, now that you're saying that about, how do you think about this phrase that people say, your head and your heart don't go together?
Sometimes, a lot of times they don't. And that's just because your brain is designed to protect you. I mean, some people talk about the difference between, it's something I haven't fully read on, but I've only vaguely understanding, is 3D versus 5D. Mm-hmm. And this whole evolution process of 3D is very physical, protection, fear-based, whereas 5D is very forward, heart-based, and love and abundance-based. And I really see that a lot when people are making a lot of decisions based on their brains, because it's always about preserving yourself. It's always about protecting your money, protecting your body, protecting your work, and which are all things that don't need to be protected. In a way, yes, they do. And they help with fear-based, but moving forward, it's that heart-based you don't really need to be protecting your money. It's just money.
Yeah, it's just money.
And or just like stuff. It's just stuff. Everything's replaceable. Like you're the thing that needs to be protected. So it's a whole.
Yeah, it's cool because you said that because my father, I think my father is he always take decision with his head. So and I think I'm more like kind of like Peter too, like always from my heart. And he was the one who said to me, "Your head and your heart are not they're not connected. They don't talk each other." And he said, "It's you keep like listen to your heart, you're never gonna be success because he's always like you need to like do what is logical."
Yeah.
And that's the thing that it was for that reason that I asked you. So you think the intuition is from here or from your head?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a very generational thing too, because a lot of friends that I have, like our parents, all have that same type of. They've pushed. Even maybe it's not maybe it's just a parent thing, because I know people my age that have done it to their kids, where we push the people we love into something that makes sense or that is logical because that's safe. That's how you protect and preserve, and especially when it talks about people talk about their legacy or their children or their bloodline, and they want to preserve that, and so they're going to push them into you need to do this thing because it's safe, because it's logical, whereas that doesn't always make sense, especially in a world that is getting more and more into, despite all the bad things happening, that there are also good things happening too. And so like it's that pull back and forth, which is head and heart.
Yeah, that's true. Because I always like how I say like 2 episodes ago, when I was in high school, my intuition said that I want to build journals. That's what I really want. But my father said, no, we live in a third world country, so it's used to that you will never find a job. So you should do what I do, and that's the logical because you're gonna get the money over there. You're gonna fit. But my intuition was saying like, no, I want to like go to journalist, but I listened to my father because I think that that was the logical thing to do at that moment. But now I just always go with my heart, and I think now that I'm doing that and I'm reading more about like mindset and about developing and this spiritual stage of my life, I'm listening more to my intuition, and it's for the reason that I want to talk with you about intuition because there's a lot of people that are confused. It's they have to take the decision with their hair or sorry with their head or with their heart.
Yeah. And even with your stomach. So I mean, even they've gotten to the point, I don't remember what book was talking about it, but there's the way that the neurons work between all three. It's almost like you almost have three brains, in that each one of them has their own neurological network that they're talking to each other. So they clearly communicate, but there's more. I don't remember what it was. Your heart talks more to your brain than your brain does to your heart. And so it was talking about how when you step into that heart-led space, you're actually more aware of the things around you because your heart is sending all these messages up to your brain. So your brain is able to see more and focus on more and observe more.
Do you think the intuition made us more conscious?
Yeah.
And more aware?
And that's part of developing your intuition is stepping into that observation mode of letting the information in, which you just have to be able to sit still and observe what's happening in order to get that information.
Oh, that's nice. That's awesome. So yeah, because I had that question that I was thinking when you were saying that I'm thinking I need to like also like start listening more and be more present, because also another thing that I had that I was going to ask you, I think I am, but not like the way that I was before. I'm very impulsive.
Yeah.
Impulsive. How does kind of person like me that we are impulsive can we like take a pause and listen our intuition?
Everyone can. So, and that's something I always tell people is that everyone's intuitive to some degree, but again, it's a muscle. So everyone has it. It's whether or not they work it out. That everyone has biceps, everyone has a chest, everyone has the same muscles. It's just whether or not people choose to exercise them, of how, whether or not they grow or shrink. And so especially people that are impulsive, it's reminding yourself, it's a practice to pause before you react to an impulse. And so even if it's someone insults you and you want to react by insulting them back, and taking that moment to pause, and that's where that intuition comes in, of you're not reacting, you're pausing, and before you start overthinking it, your intuition is going to talk to you in that middle spot and say, here's a good response, which is usually just ignore them.
Yeah.
If someone's insulting you, then the easiest way is just ignore them, walk away, and pretend it didn't happen, because you don't want to give them that energy. And so giving your intuition that space rather than impulsively reacting, that pause, that even that breath before you do something is enough to sort of reset everything between and go, okay, no, my heart says I'm just gonna walk away.
Yeah. So everything that they say is not good. It's not a good idea to take a decision when you're upset.
Yeah.
Because you don't listen to your intuition. You just go like, with the reaction of the moment. And something that, because I grew up, I didn't grow up with my parents together, so it was kind of like living in two different worlds. Because my mom she's still an impulsive person.
Yeah.
And my father, how I say, he was more like a logical. He was silent thinking, and I was like, I grew up in that way, like being impulsive, and I grew up like my father taught me not to listen to my intuition. But now that I'm in this journey, I'm like saying, I'm more happy now when I listen to my intuition and when I listen to my heart.
Yeah.
So, and I think there's a lot of people like me that has like grown in that way. So how can they start like listening to their intuition from the first step is they new in this thing?
The first step is always just acknowledging that you want to listen. That alone sends a message to your body that you're ready, that you're willing to listen. And so when anyone asks how to start building intuition, it's simply just decide to start listening. And that alone will start to create events that bring up that more and more often. And so even if you're not acting on it, even if you're just simply listening, deciding to listen, you'll start to hear it more and you'll start to feel it more. And then at a certain point you'll go, okay, maybe I'll start acting on it, but I still want to do that. I still want to do this. And so that's part of the journey, is that everybody's going to learn and develop it differently, but just making that decision to start listening to your intuition will let that voice come out.
So just think like, because now that you said voice, so we had our intuition, but also we had the other voice that is telling us, no, you're not worth it. Don't do that. If you do that, it's gonna go sideways or something like that. How can we fight that, or how can we like deal with that?
The easiest way to start is, like I mentioned before, is just to distract it, and that, which sounds counterintuitive, but even just taking a moment to count your breathing when you're feeling that way. So when you feel those thoughts start to come up, is pause where you are and breathe in and breathe out, count 1 through 10. And that will stop the mind for just long enough that you can actually feel into what your heart is actually feeling. And what that does is it also, by encouraging breathing, you're getting into your body. And so it also short circuits that impulsiveness. So if you can, first step is choosing to listen, and then pausing, right? Figuring out that way when your mind starts to get overactive, or when you want to make that impulsive decision, just to pause. And even if you count to 10 during that pause, letting that create the space for your intuition to come up. And that I've found that when I'm overthinking, or when I'm really worried or anxious about something, even something as simple as just sitting there on the couch and just like counting in 1, 2, and do that to 10. And it takes 60 seconds, if that, but that's enough to sort of short circuit what my brain is doing. And it almost calms me down. Even just doing those 2 breaths, I was like, oh, there's so much more room to to work with or like move with, that it helps. So even there are times that I'll get home from work after a really stressful day at work and I can't really focus on anything. And so I'll just be like, hold on, I need 10 minutes. I'll go sit on the couch and just close my eyes and breathe. And then after a few counted breaths, like I can already feel my body relax into it more, and I'm able to be more present with my partner or with things I'm doing around the house, just because it helps me to get back into my body and less up in my head.
Yeah, now and it is like something that I have noticed that we are struggling as a human right now. We are not present because we always like run, doing, or doing. Or we are on our phone or doing things always. Like, and this is the way that we have to be, like just doing, and not be present. So, and that's something that I always say. We have to be present, to listen to our intuition, and to listen the universe when it's gonna guide us.
Exactly. And you can be present. That pausing presence you can do anytime. Even doing the dishes, you can be in that meditative quiet by being fully focused on the task at hand. If you're doing the dishes, and rather than thinking about the meeting tomorrow or that thing your coworker said to you or what you feel like you need to do next, if you're fully focused on just doing the dishes, it's going to create that space even while you're doing chores. So you can do things like vacuuming or sweeping or cleaning the table, like almost any chore you can turn into that meditative moment by just fully being present with it.
Yeah, and that also like made you to create memories, because I'm talking about being present. So I think it was like a month ago, I met this friend. I think it was a Fashion Square, and he used to play kickball with me. And he said, we were talking about it, and he was like, oh, you remember when we won like that game? So like, man, what happened? Yeah, you were there. And I was like, I was there? And the thought that came to my mind was my body was there, but my mind wasn't. So, and even though I lived that moment with them,
Yeah.
I wasn't present, and I forgot that I was there. And I was kind of embarrassed, but at the same time, made me realize that, oh wow, the thing that we miss when we are not present.
Yeah.
And we are in another world thinking and what is going to happen and what is like, I don't know. Another thing that that I was going to ask you about, do you think the intuition is something that is in the future or in the moment?
Yes. Both. It's a both kind of thing, in that it can be used to predict the future. Like, obviously I'm a tarot reader, so I use it as a prediction tool of how is this event going to happen or how is something going to work. But it's also very much in the present moment of just deciding what to do next. And so it's a little bit of both, in that, especially in the way I use it, but it's always, I guess both is the answer.
Yeah, because you have to be present to listen your intuition, and that's gonna help you to take the next step to go to take a decision.
Right.
That's great. That's a lot of things that you like that I'm learning from you, and I'm like clarifying that I was taking action, or I was using, but I didn't realize in the way that I was doing. So that's great. And how is your daily life like since the morning that you wake up to when you go to bed? How you apply the intuition and
I'll be honest that I forget to use it a lot. Despite having a very strong intuition, I forget to use it all the time because you just move into autopilot mode. And so I'm very good I'm very good with it up until I start driving to work. And then when I drive to work, I almost get in this autopilot mode of here's the path I go, here's how I walk inside, I say hello, I do this, I do that. And it takes having that interrupt of making time to either find a way to meditate at work or just a constant reminder to myself to use my intuition consistently. And so I feel that it's easier for me to do it weekends and at night when I'm sort of just doing my own thing. But the moment I get in the office building, it's like my brain switches on and I go, okay, here's logic, here's this, here's that, here's problem solving, here's management. When in reality, there is always an opportunity to pause and listen to your intuition.
That's kind of like hard though.
It is, especially like you said, and so we do a whole lot of always doing something, always thinking about something, always on our phones, always go, go, go. And so taking that time to remember to use your intuition is the biggest element of practicing, is just remembering, taking a stop to go, oh, okay, there are times that even I'll use, like I'll be wearing a bracelet or something that like triggers my memory to use my intuition, because I'll go all day, just go, go, go. And then finally look down and go, oh, right, hold on. Let me step back for a minute. Let me take a breath, think about this, and like let my intuition come to me and then move on from the day.
Yeah, now that you say that, I saw the reason that I wear this, because this remind me to always to be calm and like always to listen God and be like always positive.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's something weird, but when I don't wear it, I feel that I don't know, I feel lost. I don't know.
I always have a crystal on me. Almost every time there's at least a crystal in one of my pockets. There's something for that reminder of it. It's just a nice thing to have. They go, oh, okay, this is a reminder for me to focus on, and it allows us to pause, even if it's just a split second, to go, oh no, I keep this as a reminder to keep a positive attitude. Like, okay, cool, and then I'll back on your way again.
And be grateful too.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome to like have this conversation and know more about intuition and how to apply the intuition. Because honestly, I was confused at the beginning when I started doing this and learning. And how I say, I was more like a logical person, and I think those decision that I took, being logical, didn't take me to the where I really want.
Yeah.
Because we sometimes say, I want to do this, I want to do this, and then we say, but you want to achieve something, but you don't get to that goal because I think you're not following the intuition and you're doing like decision like in auto.
Well, and there are times that you can logically get like. Your logic and intuition aren't always going to be opposites.
Yeah.
You can there's a lot of times when they can be used together, and that's how I like to do a lot of any psychic reading I give is going to be some combination of logical but also very intuitive. And so you can definitely make yourself successful just using your logical brain. People do it every day. I believe that intuition amps that up. And so if you can use both together, then you're going to go farther with less energy than if you weren't to do it, than if you were to just go one way or the other. I've always found that they work hand in hand. Very rarely is there a time that like my logical good sense is completely counterproductive to my intuition. It does happen occasionally, but overall, I feel like a lot of times, especially in building my business, especially there are times that, yes, there are certain things that go, oh, this is counterintuitive, or this doesn't make sense, but I'm going to do it anyway. Most times, most of the things I'm doing make sense to some degree, plus my intuition is saying, no, do that, do that, do that, do that. And then you go, oh, okay, wow, this is really great.
Yeah, that's something that I have to work though. Honestly, because I don't know how to connect both. I think that's something that I need to work in. Like,
and that's like meditating is one of the things that I found helps me the most with that, because when your brain isn't preoccupied with worrying about 100 different things, then it's useful to help you build the things your intuition wants to build. And that's what I've found most recently, is that using that combination of, like with the classes I teach, I'll go in with a loose lesson plan, but I know my brain has the knowledge to create a workshop, and I know sort of what I'm going to talk about. I mean, and today is a perfect example. Like, I know a loose outline of what we're going to talk about, but my brain is going to fill in the rest of the gaps with the words that I need to use. Yeah. And so trusting that all three brains are going to talk to each other, that trust is what like only comes with practice.
Awesome, perfect. And how we can support you, Preston, in your business?
I'm teaching classes pretty consistently out at a studio in Tempe. So if you ever see anything posting and you're interested in learning more about intuition, by all means, come to one of my classes. I'm also offering one-on-one coaching.
Nice.
So specifically around using your intuition to achieve your goals. So if there's anyone interested in some one-on-one coaching that is wanting to specifically learn to work with their intuition, whether that's through tarot, astrology, human design, you talking with spirit guides, manifesting, all those things. So we work one-on-one to create those goals and then work towards them. So if anybody's interested in either one of those, feel free to reach out and we can set up a time to talk.
Awesome. Yeah. Feel free to reach out to you.
Please do.
To Preston. And it was super nice to talk to you and learn more about intuition, honestly, like, because every time, how did I say before, every time that I see you, I learn something new.
I learn something new as I'm saying it, so I totally appreciate it.
And I had this question, the last question, and I'm gonna do it before we end this episode. I ask this every single time too that I had a guest. But if you will recommend a book that you will say that this book changed my life, and there's somebody that is struggling now and say, hey, which book I should read?
Oh, I should have had a better answer for this one. I knew this question was coming, and I couldn't identify what book to use. The one I think right now that stands out the most, which is not what I was doing, not what I thought about when I first heard you ask the question to someone, another guest, I was like, oh, I have an idea. No, so it's called The Amazing Power of Deliberate Intent by Abraham Hicks.
I like her.
And so I love her stuff. And that was one book that really helped to clarify what I was doing, but also sort of get myself into the right moment. And I've watched her stuff on Instagram for a long time. And that book, I think I read about 2 years ago, and it really started to like move the needle forward. So that was probably one, especially if you're dealing with not sure how to move forward in your life. That's
good. Awesome. Yeah. I need to like look for that book for
yeah.
Sure. Send me the name.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna put it here.
Perfect.
So that way the people that they're interested to read or get that book, they can see it. So, yeah. But also, thank you again.
Thank you,
Preston, for coming today. It was super nice. Every time that I meet you, it's super nice to see you, honestly. Yeah. And you had a lot of like to teach of. You like we need to talk about the tarot too.
Yeah. I know I'm trying to be present with this one, but I'm already thinking of 4 other things that I want to talk about. I'm like, oh, I want to do like we can do this, and this. So, yeah, I'm definitely excited to keep coming back.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you guys also for watching the podcast. Remember, you can follow me in Joseph Official on my Instagram or Facebook, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Make Dreams Happen, and we will see you in the next episode. And thank you again, Presto. See you guys.
Thank you for the laughter, thank you for the tears, thank you for the moments